So I'm back once again, your mentor for economics for the next few days when you're writing your economics paper. So here I am, CA Anu Agarwal, who is going to help you for the next few days how to get those wonderful marks. एक important चीज, अभी हम आपको पढ़ा रहे हैं chapter. We are trying to explain you a concept. Once I finish teaching, guys, please do wait for my lecture on how to crack the economics paper, what needs to be written for 2 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks, 6 marks. We'll be discussing one paper. On that note, let's start with chapter number 4. This is supply analysis. Is chapter say, what are the things which are very, very important? First of all of you note that. There's a short question coming up, difference between stock and supply. Favorite question. Distinguish it between total revenue and marginal revenue. Then expansion, contraction, increase and decrease. And then a very favorite question of why does the labor curve bend backwards? ये 3 marks का, 4 marks का आ जाता है. So I hope you can understand that this chapter 4 again is, very, very important from examination point of view. एक चीज मैं बारी बारी रिपीट कर रही हूँ. हम लोग को लगता है कि theory means just mug it up and just puke it out as far as the exam is concerned. Guys, you will not get good marks in economics because your HSC board paper has got question number 1, which is of 20 marks, and even question number 2 and 3, they're asking very nice questions from you, especially question number 1, wherein if you have not understood the concept, you will not be able to write, right? So merely mugging up will not help. So on that note, let's start the chapter supply analysis. We should first start, as I told you, to understand the difference between stock and supply. But stock and supply se pehle, what do you mean by output? Guys, when you're writing an economics paper, the wordings are very, very important. आप कभी-कभी half definition लिखते हो, मैं बताऊंगी कैसे. Now, total output, all of us understand total output is the sum total of all the units which are being produced in the economy at a particular or a given period of time. ये word बहुत importance है. For example, मैंने आपसे 2 marks के लिए पूछा, what is total output? अब students write down total output can be identified as the sum total of quantity of commodity produced in the economy. Now 2 marks की वजह आपको 1 marks मिलेंगे. You know why? Because बहुत important एक word है that is at a given period of time. ये आपने miss किया, right? So be very particular. So supply is the total quantity of goods which are being produced in the economy at a given period of time. That completes the definition. Now coming up to stock and supply. Stock means the quantity of goods which are available for sale, right? Or you can say potential supply. तो अगर मेरे को 2 marker आता है supply और stock के बीच में, तो एक difference है कि supply is the actual supply and stock would be the potential supply. As you can see, stock is the total quantity of goods which is available for sale with the seller at a particular point of time. At a particular point of time. It is a source of supply. It is a potential supply. तो 2 बातें याद हो गई. Stock is potential supply. It is a source of supply. It is the quantity of goods, the total quantity of goods available with the seller for the purpose of sale at a particular point of time. And on the other hand, when we talk about supply is the quantity of goods which are offered for sale by the supplier at a given period of time at a given price. तो supply में आपकी price word बहुत जरूरी होना चाहिए because that's the actual sales, right? At which price the seller is ready to sell at a particular point of time. So supply की definition क्या हो गई? Supply means the quantity of goods which the seller is ready to sell at a particular price at a particular time. That is known as supply. Now, very important thing, stock के बारे में. देखिए, स्टॉक आप इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं, यू कैन इंक्रीज योर प्रोडक्शन एंड यू कैन इंक्रीज योर स्टॉक, राइट? सो stock exceeds supply and it is fixed and inelastic because it has got no relation to the goods which you're going to sell. You can increase your production and you can actually increase your stock. Now आपको 2 marks के लिए आता है कि in case of perishable goods, is stock equal to supply? Yes, in case of perishable goods, I cannot keep the goods. If I try to keep the stock, I won't be able to sell it in the next day. So whatever I've produced at this moment, I need to supply it. So अगर आपसे 2 marks आता है तो yes, in case of perishable goods, stock may be equal to supply. मैं इस लाइन को emphasize कर रही हूँ, 2 marks के लिए आता है, right? या reasoning assertion में आ जाता है एक line, is this correct or not? So in case of perishable goods, stock may be equal to supply, but in case of durable goods, stock can be higher than supply, because see, stock is the source for supply. I hope you are very clear. So we are clear with total output, stock and supply. Supply is a relative term. Stock is fixed and inelastic. I can increase my stock by increasing my production. Stock in case of perishable goods may be equivalent to supply, but in case of durable goods, stock will be higher than supply. And when you're writing the definition of supply, it is the quantity of goods which the supplier is ready to sell at a particular time at a given period of time. Guys, there was a question in the examination. Exactly this question was there. A farmer has got 4,000 kgs and he is, this is the total stock, and he offers 4,000 kgs for stock. And the question was, give economic term for this. So you had to write down that it is supply, because आपके पास वो जो 1000 kgs जो आपने सेल किए, that's supply. अगर वो पूछते कि 4000 kgs के बारे में लिखो तो आप बोलते ये स्टॉक है. I hope I'm very clear. This had come down in the exam. Now guys, since we've already done demand, we should understand demand. We are talking from consumer point of view. That is, when is the consumers ready to buy, or when is the demand happening? What are the factors affecting demand? Now, when I'm talking about supply, I'm actually talking from the producer's point of view. So you need to understand, consumer is always looking out for, जब price कम होगा तो वो ज़्यादा खरीदेंगे, and हमने उसके determinants and factors पढ़े. वहाँ पे सोचने का तरीका कंज्यूमर था, यहाँ सोचने का तरीका सप्लायर है. सप्लायर को क्या चाहिए? What is it that supplier is looking for? He is looking out for profit. Let's be very honest. बहुत सारे students come up to me and they are confused with respect to the fact that ma'am, प्राइस ज़्यादा होगा तो सप्लायर क्यों देना चाहेगा? इसका सिंपल सा लॉजिक है, a supplier needs more profit. So if everything else remains constant, right? When I say everything else, especially I mean the cost, the technology, everything else, any factor of production remains constant. The cost should not increase. But if other things are constant, then if earlier I was able to sell the good at 10 rupees and the cost was, let's say, 6 rupees. The cost is still 6, but I'm ready to sell, I can sell that good for like 12 rupees. Don't you think I'll be earning more profit? 10 रुपए पे बेचूंगी तो 10 minus 6 4 rupees का प्रॉफिट आएगा. बट अगर 12 रुपए पे चीज को बेच पाऊंगी तो प्रॉफिट कितना आएगा? 12 minus 6 is going to be 6. So simple logic is that higher the price of the good, greater will be the quantity which the supplier will be ready to supply at a particular point of time. But yes, there are a lot of assumptions and we need to understand those assumptions are nothing but the factors which need to remain constant for us to believe or for us to draw out on a conclusion that if the price increases, the supplier will be ready to supply more. And then once again, जैसे हमने in case of demand बात किया था, individual demand and market demand, here we'll be talking about individual supply and market supply. So on a quick note, let's look at your text material now. So they talk about supply. Supply is a functional relationship between price and the quantity supplied of a particular commodity. Simple definition of supply is the it's a functional, this functional word is very important. It's a functional relationship between price and quantity supplied of a particular commodity. This is not law of supply. This is supply schedule. मैं अगर आपसे सिर्फ supply की definition पूछूं तो ये है. Law of supply पूछूं तो वो भी हमको पढ़ना बाकी है. Now coming up to individual supply, I am talking about one commodity. As you can see, when the price was 10, supplier is ready to supply 100 kgs. When the price is rising, he is ready to supply more units of it. So it's 200. When it is 30, 300. This is an individual supply curve. Now look at it. The relationship between price and quantity supplied, lower the price, lower is the quantity supplied. कैसा relationship है? Direct relationship है. Price भी लो, quantity supplied भी लो. Price बढ़ेगा, quantity supplied बढ़ेगी. So at the highest price of 50, quantity supplied is the highest. So what is the relationship which is you are getting in your mind? Lower the price, lower the supply. Now, I have not made the graph, but if at all, I have to make a graph. Okay, I would like to make a graph. हम आगे graph पढ़ेंगे. So, the supply schedule which is given to you, and I said, price come to supply come. So, let's say at 10 rupees of price, 100 units are being supplied. This is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, this is your price, and this is your quantity. कोई भी supply curve, कोई भी demand curve, कोई भी curve बिना schedule बनाए, you need to make the schedule and then draw a graph. Schedule आपकी textbook में बना हुआ है, मैं उसी schedule को use कर रही हूँ. Right? तो आपको exam में कोई भी graph बनाओगे तो schedule बनाना है. लेबलिंग करनी है ग्राफ की, बिना उसके नंबर नहीं मिलेगा. Now let's say the price is 20, then we said the supplier is ready to supply 200 units. The price is 30, the seller is ready to supply 300 units. Can you look at it? Price कम, quantity भी कम. प्राइस बढ़ गया, क्वांटिटी भी बढ़ गई. अगर मैं ये सारे पॉइंट्स को जोड़ दूं, don't you think it's an upward sloping curve? It's an upward sloping curve, right? Demand curve was a downward sloping curve. Supply is an upward sloping curve. The relationship is direct. Price इंक्रीज होगा तो क्वांटिटी भी इंक्रीज होगी. आई होप आई एम वेरी क्लियर. गोइंग बैक टू योर टेक्स्ट मटीरियल. सो दिस इज एन इंडिविजुअल सप्लाई कर्व एंड देन जिस तरीके से हमने बात करी हुई है, look at it, they have made the graph at 10 units 100 quantity, 20 units 200, so it's a upward sloping curve. Please label the graph SS, जैसे डिमांड कर्व में DD वैसी SS. Now coming up to the next thing, market demand या market supply, right? Market demand गलत है, market supply. Market supply means there have to be more than one sellers, right? The commodity would be the same. Commodity एक है, seller भी एक है, individual supply है ना. But in case of market supply, commodity एक है, but supplier एक से ज़्यादा है, right? So supplier A, supplier B, supplier C. 10 के प्राइस पर if supplier A was ready to supply 100, supplier B was ready to supply 200, supplier C was ready to supply 300, so total supply is 600. इंडिविजुअल और टोटल में या मार्केट में इतना सा फर्क है कि इंडिविजुअल में एक सेलर था, मार्केट में एक से ज्यादा सेलर है. स्केड्यूल उसी हिसाब से बनाना and then you can just प्राइस बढ़ रहा है and you can keep on increasing the supply. Now guys, I hope in case of an individual supply, heading होनी चाहिए individual supply curve. Supply curve वैसा ही बनेगा. Only thing is यहाँ पर 10 per 100 was only of one supplier. यहाँ पे 10 पे I'm talking about 3 suppliers put together, which is 600. Is that very sound and clear? So I think each one of you after law of demand can actually make the supply curve and understand the individual and supply curve आसान है थोड़ा सा, राइट? सिर्फ लिखते वक्त ध्यान रखना, इंडिविजुअल सप्लाई कर्व मीन्स टॉकिंग अबाउट वन सेलर, मार्केट सप्लाई मीन्स टॉकिंग अबाउट मोर देन वन सेलर, कमोडिटी एक ही है, ठीक है? ओके, सप्लाई कर्व स्लोप्स अपवर्ड्स, ग्राफ को लेबल जरूर करना। अब आती है बात, once we have done this, now we need to understand what are the determinants, or I can say factors. Determinants का दूसरा नाम factors। क्या factors हैं? जैसे हमने डिमांड किया था कि क्या factors हैं, वो इस similarly we'll be talking about what are the factors which affect supply। supply क्या इफेक्ट करेंगे, थोड़ा ध्यान से सोचो। सप्लायर के लिए एक तो हमने बात करी, जैसे जैसे प्राइस बढ़ रहा है वैसे वैसे सप्लायर इज रेडी टू सप्लाई मोर, सो प्राइस इज डेफिनेटली अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर विच is very influential in determining how much goods will the supplier be ready to sell in the market. ठीक है? So, of course, technology improve हो जाएगी तो क्या होएगा? Please understand, मैंने आपको बेसिक चीज बताई है, सेलर को प्राइस नहीं, बेसिकली प्रॉफिट से मतलब है। Am I very sound and clear? If मैंने आपसे स्टार्टिंग में बोला था, if cost remains same, then supplier को क्या चाहिए? He would be wanting कि भाई 10 रुपए की चीज अगर वो 12 में बेच सकता है तो क्यों नहीं? He would like to sell at 12, right? So, if I'm saying price is a very important factor, or is the major reason why supplier is ready to sell more of a good at a higher price, at that time I'm assuming that every other factor which can influence the cost is not changing, right? But अभी हम क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं? हम बात कर रहे हैं what are the factors which can affect supply। ठीक है? तो एक तो हो गया प्राइस, और दूसरा साइड क्या होना चाहिए? कॉस्ट। अगर कॉस्ट सस्ता हो जाएगा, right, if the cost of the product will become cheaper, then definitely supplier को उसी प्राइस पे ज्यादा प्रॉफिट मिलने लगेगा। The supplier will be ready to supply more of it because cost of production गिर जाएगा। I hope I am very clear। ये बात को मैं emphasize इसलिए कर रही हूँ क्योंकि lot of students come up to me and they say कि मैम इसमें तो प्राइस बढ़ा नहीं, फिर भी सप्लायर ऐसा क्यों लिखा हुआ है, सप्लायर ज्यादा सप्लाई कर रहा है। सप्लायर को प्रॉफिट ज्यादा हो रहा है ना, तो supplier को profit is what the supplier is working for, yes? Coming back to state of technology क्या होगी? If you can actually, पहले बोलते थे ना हाथ से कपड़ा बना रहे हो या हैंडलूम का सामान आपको महंगा क्यों मिलता है? Because it is being done by hand। अब a human being may be taking 6 hours to produce one particular कढ़ाई करने के लिए उसको टाइम, वीविंग करने के लिए टाइम लगेगा। But maybe if the weaving has to be done by machine, maybe in 6 hours machine can produce 100 units of item। तो हैंडलूम या एक वीवर के हाथ से बनी हुई चीज महंगी होगी क्योंकि उसने 6 घंटे लगा के वो चीज बनाई है, और यहाँ पे 6 घंटे में 100 यूनिट बन के आ गई है। तो प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, टेक्नोलॉजी से कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन तो नीचे गिरेगा ही ना। सो दैट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर दैट इफ द कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन decreases, automatically the supplier will be able to increase the production। cost of production अगर increase होगा तो automatically supplier would not be ready to supply more, या cost of production decrease होगा तो seller will be ready to supply more। Infrastructure facilities, this is very important। I can produce a good but I cannot send the good, or I cannot make that good reach the right customer, then what is my point in producing more goods? So that's what they're saying। So infrastructure facility in the form of transportation, communication, power, these are very very important for the purpose that the supplier is, he or she would be ready to supply more of the product, या उसको एक इंसेंटिव है कि वो ज्यादा गुड्स बनाए, क्योंकि उसको पता है अगर मैं ज्यादा गुड्स बना सकता हूँ और मेरे पास एक वेयर हाउसिंग फैसिलिटी है, या मैं गुड्स बनाऊंगा और मैं उसको वेरियस सिटीज में पहुंचा सकता हूँ, तो ऑब्वियसली वो क्या करेगा, वो ज्यादा गुड्स बनाना पसंद करेगा। लेकिन ना ट्रांसपोर्टेशन की फैसिलिटी है, ना कम्युनिकेशन की फैसिलिटी है, ना वेयर हाउसिंग की फैसिलिटी है, तो सप्लायर ज्यादा सामान बना के करेगा क्या? Are you understanding? Infrastructure facility. Then coming up to government policy. Government policies can be unfavorable and they can discourage supply, like सब्सिडी नहीं है या थी पहले अभी हटा दी, टैक्सेशन लग गया, या various other policies of the government which may not be very favorable to the producer. These can be very discouraging. So government policies are very important. Coming up to natural conditions, yes, in this we should talk about agriculture, wherein abhi tak concept of हम artificial rain का concept तक हम अभी तक नहीं पहुंचे, हालांकि we are reaching there. But what I'm trying to say is natural conditions, especially in case of agricultural production. Guys, the poor farmer is actually dependent upon the congenial conditions for production, right? बारिश नहीं हुई, पूरा का पूरा जो उन लोग ने सब्जी या खेती करी है वो सारा खराब हो जाएगा. So natural conditions is also a very, very important factor which affects your supply. Future expectation. ये तो I think withholding of stock, that the price will become higher and then we are going to supply. So इनके अलावा there are various other factors which could be relative prices of the other products, export, import, industrial relationships, availability of factors of production. How do we learn this? If we take up for a long question, price, technology, cost of production, infrastructure, government, natural conditions, and your future expectation, yes or no. And of course, the other factors. So can we make some word out of it? Can we make some word out of it? Yes. So there is PICT, I was trying to make a picture out of it. So PICT and GNEF, yeah, GENF. So PICT, GENF, right? So P is for price, I is for your infrastructure, C is for your cost, and T is for your technology. G is for government policy, E is for expected future expectations, and N is for your natural या nature या climate, whatever. Are we good? तो अब हमको factors समझ में आ गए, right? याद कर लें PICT, and as I said, PICT, GENF. E और F is future expectation, G is government policy, and N is nature. ये याद करवा रही हूँ आपको, PICT, GENF. Now, you have looked at all the factors of production, right? All the factors which are affecting supply. But again, the most important factor still remains the price. So, जैसा हमने law of demand किया था, वैसे यहाँ पर law of supply होगा. X will be your commodity. जब भी 2 marks के लिए law of supply लिखें, please do write this. X is the commodity, so it is supply of that commodity is a function of the price of that commodity. It is the function of the price of that commodity. P is the price, X is the commodity, F is the function. That means amongst all the factors of production, it is the price which is the most important factor of production, factor of supply. But as I told you, please, मैं जब अज्यूम कर रही हूँ कि प्राइस बढ़ेगा तो सप्लायर ज़्यादा सप्लाई करेगा, तो मैं कुछ अजम्पशंस कर रही हूँ. सबसे बड़ा अजम्पशन क्या है कि कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन कांस्टेंट है. देयर इज नो चेंज इन द कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. टेक्निक ऑफ प्रोडक्शन सेम है. There is no change in weather condition. There is no change in government policy. There is no change in transportation or infrastructure facilities. Prices of other goods are constant. There is no future expectation. आपको क्या लग रहा है? जो हमारे factors of production, factors affecting supply थे, वही बिकम दी अजम्पशन। यही बात मैंने आपको डिमांड में भी सब सिखाई थी कि हम फैक्टर्स ऑफ डिमांड पढ़ते हैं या डिटर्मिनेंट्स ऑफ डिमांड पढ़ते हैं। उसके बाद जब हम लॉ ऑफ डिमांड पे आए थे तो लॉ ऑफ डिमांड वाज आल्सो डिपेंडेंट, इट वाज अ फंक्शन ऑफ प्राइस। सिमिलरली लॉ ऑफ सप्लाई में द सप्लाई इज अ फंक्शन ऑफ द प्राइस। हमने सारे फैक्टर्स में से प्राइस को कंसिडर किया, लेकिन हमने जितने भी डिटर्मिनेंट्स आइडेंटिफाई किए थे, टेक्नोलॉजी, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, नेचुरल रीजंस, गुड्स, दूसरे गुड्स का प्राइस सेम रहना चाहिए, वो सारे अजम्पशन हो जाते हैं। तो याद करने की जरूरत नहीं। अगर आपने ये याद किया हुआ है PICT, GENF, वही बिकम्स योर अजम्पशन। Cost of production should remain constant, technology should remain constant, weather में no change, no climatic condition change, government policy hasn't changed, infrastructure, transportation, infrastructure में ही transportation आता है, so no change in transportation cost, no change in the price of other goods, and no expectation of the change in the future prices. I hope I'm very clear. And supply curve तो हमको बनाना आ ही गया है. We are very clear that वो हमने सप्लाई स्केड्यूल लिखा था. दिस इज अ सप्लाई स्केड्यूल के बेसिस पर वी हैव मेड द सप्लाई कर्व. प्लीज इफ यू आर ड्रॉइंग अ सप्लाई कर्व, सप्लाई स्केड्यूल बनाना बहुत जरूरी है. कभी भी एग्जाम में डू नॉट ड्रॉ द ग्राफ डायरेक्टली, लेबल करना जरूरी है. इसकी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स की बात करें तो सप्लाई कर्व इज अ upward sloping curve. The relationship between price and supply is direct. अब हम आगे चलते हैं. लॉ बन गया है तो एक्सेप्शंस तो होंगे, और यहां पर मैं बात कर रही हूं वो जो मैंने शुरू में बोला था, दिस कैन कम फॉर अ 3 marker. This is supply of labor. They are putting it as an exception to the law of supply. That is, if the prices will increase, the supply of that particular commodity will increase. And they say supply of labor is an exception to it. Why? या मैंने आपको शुरू में बोला था कि they can ask you a question that law of labor या labor curve bends backwards. ऐसा क्यों? Simple सा reason. For example, मुझको 1 घंटा काम करने का, if I work for 1 hour, I am being paid a hourly wage rate. या मैं बोल देती हूँ, मैं नहीं बोलती हूँ, लेट्स से राम इज बीइंग पेड अ वेज रेट ऑफ ₹100 per hour. Yes. Now Ram is an efficient guy. He does things nicely and बहुत क्रिएटिव है. वो राम पहले 8 hours काम करता था, तो कितने रुपए कमाता था? 8 into 100, 800 पर डे कमाता था. 8 घंटे का दिन, ठीक है. 800 रुपीज पर डे कमाता था. नाउ ही इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड दैट ही इज गुड, ही इज एफिशिएंट, ही इज क्रिएटिव. तो उसका जो प्राइस है वो बढ़ के हो गया फॉर वॉट एवर रीजन, या डिमांड शॉर्टेज है और सब वर्कर्स नहीं है, बहुत सारे कारण हो सकते हैं. राम को 200 रुपए पर आवर मिलने लगे किसी भी कारण से. वर्कर्स कम हैं तो उसकी डिमांड ज्यादा हो गई, तो 200 रुपए पर आवर उसको मिल सकता है फॉर द काम. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज, वर्कर वॉज वेरी हैप्पी गेटिंग 800 रुपीज पर डे. अभी वो सोचता है मैं 8 घंटे क्यों काम करूं, 5 ही घंटे काम करूंगा. 5 घंटे काम करने पे भी मैं 1000 कमा सकता हूं. 4 घंटे काम करने पे तो मैं 800 कमा ही सकता हूं. सो बेसिकली विद द इंक्रीज इन प्राइस, सप्लाई ऑफ लेबर बढ़ना चाहिए था ना. मतलब इंस्टेड ऑफ वर्किंग फॉर 8 hours, टेक्निकली द लेबर शुड हैव बीन रेडी टू वर्क फॉर 9 hours और 10 hours. बट यहां तो उल्टा हो रहा है. लेबर गोज इनटू अ कंफर्ट जोन. वो कहता है यार मुझे लेजर चाहिए, मुझे आराम चाहिए, राइट. मेरे को 200 रुपए पर आवर मिल रहा है, मैं तो 4 घंटे ही काम करके 800 कमा लूंगा. 5 घंटे और 6 घंटे काम कर लिया तो मैं तो 800 रुपए से कहीं ज्यादा कमा लूंगा, 1000 या 1200 रुपए. Now this is the reason why supply of labor is an exception to the law of supply. wherein though the price is increasing, but the supply is not increasing. And mind it, it's coming again and again in the examination. Okay, so now let's look at your text material. It is talking about that law of supply of labor is an exception, and in this they are writing supply of labor falls with that with further rise in wage rate, supply of labor bends backward, right? Then they are making a schedule. Can you look at it? Guys, कोई भी ग्राफ बिना schedule के नहीं बनता, दिमाग में बिठा लो. Now look at it. At 100 rupees, कितना घंटे लेबर काम करता है? 5 घंटे काम करता है. उसको वेजेस कितनी मिलती है? 500. वो 200 घंटे काम करता है, 200 रुपए पर आवर मिलते हैं. वो 7 घंटे काम करने के लिए तैयार है, 1400. Now look at it. यहां तक तो law of supply is holding good. Wage rate बढ़ी, number of hours have also increased. But look at this. 300 का wage rate हुआ, wage rate बढ़ा, तो ये 7 से 8 नहीं हुआ, ये 7 से 6 हो गया. And this is where backward bending शुरू हो गई. And you can look at it. Why backward bending? The worker feels कि why should I work for 7 hours? I need to, chill out and leisure मुझे चाहिए. तो अगर मैं आपसे सवाल पूछती हूँ, why does supply of labor curve bends backward? So you will write down that the labor, if he is getting a higher wage rate and he is able to earn more than what he was earning earlier, then the labor is looking out for leisure. So they are ready to work for lesser number of hours, and that's why the labor curve bends backward. ये 2 नंबर के लिए सवाल आए तो ये आपको जवाब देना है, और अगर 4 नंबर के लिए आए तो आप स्केड्यूल भी बनाएंगे और ग्राफ भी बनाएंगे. गोइंग बैक, 300 वेज रेट हुआ तो वर्किंग आवर्स कम हो गए. आप देख सकते हैं that the wages which are being earned by the worker is higher than what he was earning here. ग्राफ देखो, at 100 wage rate he is working for 5 hours, at 200 he is working for 7 hours, but at 300 he is working for 6 hours. Can you see this? And this is where the backward bending happens. Am I good? Next guys, this is what they have explained to you. आप for an examination purposes के लिए guys 4 marks के लिए schedule और graph दोनों बनाना पड़ेगा. Coming up to the next thing, agricultural goods is also an exception because law of supply does not apply to agricultural good as they are produced in a specific season and it depends upon weather conditions. So it is not always essential कि हम ज़्यादा goods बना पाए. It is very climatic या season based होते हैं. So agricultural products पर law of supply does not apply. Urgent need for cash. I think I don't need to explain it. Sometimes I am really looking out for hard cash, so the person will be ready to supply even at a lower price. Perishable goods. सब्जी मंडी में आप सब्जी लेने जाते हो, शाम के वक्त यूजुअली सब्जी सस्ती मिलती है. Why? Because it's of perishable nature. The supplier is ready to supply to you even at a lower price. Sometimes the goods are rare. So there, in case of rare goods, the supply of rare goods cannot be increased or decreased according to its demand. Even if the price rises, supply remains unchanged. For example, antique goods. उसका कोई relationship नहीं होता. आप antique goods में supply बढ़ा नहीं सकते हो if the price is going to be high. You have one of a product. So guys, what are the 5 exceptions? Perishable का P, rare goods का R, urgent need for cash का U, agricultural products का A, and labor. Yes or no? So can we make some word out of it? So we have got an L, we have got an A, we have got a U. So can I write it down? Can I rub the board a little bit? Okay, so we have got exceptions में labor का L, we have got agricultural products का A, you have got perishable good का P, you have got urgent needs ka U, and you've got rare goods ka R. Lapur. Right? Exception ke liye, can you remember the word lapur? Right? Labor, A is for agricultural goods, P is for perishable goods, U is for urgent need of cash, and R is for rare goods. So guys, that's all for today. We have done the law of supply, the difference between stock and supply, emphasized on the definition. We have understood the individual demand, the individual supply and the market supply. We have worked on the law of supply and its factors. And we have also worked on and understood the exceptions to the law of supply. So see you in my next class. Till then, if you have really liked my lecture, please like it and share it with your friends. And comment if at all you want me to bring out some changes, or do I need to change my methodology. See you in my next class.